Today I fucked up by falsely claiming to speak fluent French to my wife's parents 6 years ago, and now we're going to Paris together. This fuck up started 6 years ago when I met my wife's parents for the first time. Thought I had been determined to make a great first impression. Ma and Pa weren't thrilled about their country girl being stolen away from them by a city boy. Conversation was stiffer than John Mayer's penis at 4 AM on a Friday night, but somehow it veered into the French category. I think we were talking about the Civil War. Ma stated she'd always wanted to learn the language. Thought I'd win her over by telling a joke. A few years ago I didn't speak any French, but now I can speak fluently. Apparently it is parler liquid. Well, they didn't quite catch my wit, apparently speaking neither French nor sarcasm. Before this, they'd been cold to me at best, but now they were treating me like I was the Queen of France, before the revolution. At first, I thought they simply loved my joke, oohing and ahhing, asking me to speak more French. Weird, I thought, since the joke wasn't that funny, but maybe it was their cup of tea? Glass of wine? Jokes about French maybe was their thing. I proceeded to recite the only other French joke I know. A cat named 1 2 3 and another one named 1 2 3 were crossing a river. One made it of Ross. Which one? 1 2 3 because union, 2 3, cat resync. They loved that one too. Looking back on it, they didn't understand it at all. When they started asking me about where I learn it, how long it took, if I'd be willing to teach them, it dawned on me. Being the first time meeting my wife's family, me fearing the awkward, and her dad looking like he chops trees with his bare hands, I made the split-second decision to lie. And lied I have these past 6 years. My relationship with my wife's parents has grown steady. I've spent far more time with them than I ever anticipated. I would have been comfortable coming clean to them, had it not been for the fact that the Frenchness is my entire identity, my being, my worth to them now. I have become a caricature. Fearing they'd suspect otherwise, I way overdid it early on, which means I've had to keep it up at express pace this entire time. My wife thinks it's hilarious, which is why she hasn't said anything, and the lie has gone on far too long for me to say anything. Every Christmas the family gets together and I gift them French wines, despite never having been there. I sometimes say merde after intentionally dropping something in front of them, and I even learned how to make baguettes. I occasionally wear a beret and they love me for it. So much so that they decided to invite the entire family to Paris for their 30th anniversary next year, after the pandemic. They're so excited and they're talking about how I can translate for them and take them places only locals would know of, and how I've inspired them to finally visit France. My wife's parents are no wealthy people. It is a grand gesture from them paying for my vacation to Europe. I know I've got to tell them. Can't back out of it. My wife would kill me. And I can't wait for them to find out in France. My wife would kill me. It's so frustrating because it's such a small fuck up that has built up to this tremendous thing over the past few years. I have no idea what will happen once they know, but I'm not eager to find out. Too long didn't read. Wife's parents didn't understand the joke. Thought I spoke French. Me being afraid of awkwardness, doubled down and became uber French despite speaking no French at all. Now they're taking me to real French people and I am screwed. Sounds like you have a year to learn French. Op, bon chance. Like that attitude. Today he fucked up. In a year he fucking blows everybody's tits off with fluent French. Here's hoping your wife clued them in years ago and they're seeing how far they can take this. Either way, you've got a year to practice. Better start studying. You could probably learn some pretty passable French in the next 6 months if you try. As long as they don't learn French as well, they won't really know if you're perfect. Probably should have started 6 years ago. You might be fluent by now. A year is plenty of time to learn passable French. They'll be impressed and you can wear that beret with pride. Be the French son-in-law you were always meant to be. I would like to point out, as someone who was fluent in French, 6 years of not using another language is plenty of time to forget if it was a second language. If you learn some basic French, you can claim since you have not used it you no longer remember and just feign a lot of frustration. Edit, spelling. I agree. I was once fluent in French too. I could read entire French novels. French people thought I was a native. Now I struggle with it. It's embarrassing. Today I fucked up by getting too experimental with my girlfriend. My girlfriend and I love to try a lot of weird sex stuff to keep things spicy. Yesterday she came along with a balloon fetish she read something about. This does not push any boundaries for either one of us, so we sat down, had a lot of tequila and blew up some balloons. At one point our inner children came to shine and we just bashed each other with them. Some occasional tickling, her screaming and one or another balloon popped. I'll spare you further details, since I'm sure you get the idea. Fast forward to when we were done. We're not tired yet, so we start up some streaming page and watch a movie. After like 5 minutes there is a blast, like someone hit the side of our building with a car, and again and again. I quickly grabbed my underwear from the floor and put them on while drunkenly moving towards the door to check what the hell is going on. I'm still one room from the entrance, but have a line of sight when the door blasted open and a Special Forces police unit team of 6 stormed into our apartment. Well, I was standing there, in my undies and dead drunk. I GF naked in the bedroom, even more drunk. I'm doing some occasional artsy craft, and from a sale I got to own about 7 completely disassembled mannequins and baby dolls. For a lack of proper storage they're currently spread throughout the apartment. It kinda looks like a cheap horror movie at the moment. So I was laying there, face down and surrounded by taped baby dolls and limbs of mannequins. That for sure does not look good. They put a hood over my head and brought my girlfriend and me to the police station for questioning. Apparently someone heard her screaming and the bangs and thought someone was murdered. Hell, I just came home from the police office where I got laughed at for this story and I thought it might give you a good laugh as well. Too long didn't read. Spicing up sex life with things we found on the internet lead to Special Forces police unit kicking in our door. Edit, it seems important to mention that I'm not based in the US. Edit 2, yes this happened. I was there when it did. Here's the door with one of my baby doll projects in the background. Edit 3, police paid for the door. Carpenter will come in on Monday. Edit 4, the hood was to protect the identity of the police unit since they also do a lot of undercover shit. Do the balloon thing a few more times, and then the neighbors will be desensitized and won't call the cops when you start your serial killing. Delete that. Nobody must know my plans. I'll spare you further details because I'm sure you get the idea. For the life of me I can't figure out what you did with these balloons. Send help. There are adult content websites. I think typing balloon into the search bar should do the trick. Sounds like your night contained a lot of different types of banging happening. I'm sure you will never forget this experience. I'll never forget how 6 strong men in uniform blindfolded me and put me in cuffs. Is no one going to mention the backpack with zip ties and duct tape in the picture? Forget the baby doll head, it looks like a serial killer kit. Well, I suppose that's one way to explore a kidnapping fetish. Today I fucked up by forgetting to bring a face mask. A few days ago was the first time in a while that I left my house, as in at least a month and a half. I went to stock up on groceries, and as I left my house, and got on a bus. You don't need a mask on them where I live. I realized I forgot my mask. I got off and walked home because I'm not about getting the Rona. As I arrived at my house, I reached for my keys. Nope. There was nothing in my pockets. I retraced my steps, thinking I must have dropped them on the sidewalk. No. I then realized that they must be on the bus. I think they must have fallen out of my pocket when I left the bus in such a hurry. That's when it struck me, I probably should call a locksmith. I have a spare set in my house, so I go home to connect to my Wi-Fi. I reached into my pocket, and then I realized I left it on charge. So my big brain does some really smart thinking, and I decide to break in to my own house. I tried climbing onto my balcony, because I thought I left the window unlocked. So there I am, looking like a ninja climbing onto my balcony. I thought I finessed it and I could get in easy. But that's where my little hope broke through. I heard a siren, looked down and saw a police car. I then realized how bad I looked. I explained what happened, and they looked really confused. I showed them some ID and showed them it was my house. That is the story of how I nearly got arrested. Too long didn't read. I forgot my mask, which led to me losing my keys, which led to me nearly being arrested for breaking and entering into my own house. I have put a little plastic hook by my door to hang masks on, so see them and remember to pick one up as I am leaving. My solution is that to keep one everywhere. One in my bag, one in my car, sometimes one even in my pockets. Were you able to mask your embarrassment when the police arrived? Good pun, but no, and they had to give me a face mask so I could speak to them. Pensive face. Maybe I'm an asshole, but I was really hoping you forgot your wallet somewhere too. I was expecting him to realize he had been wearing his mask the whole time, like when you're looking for your glasses. Talk about a series of unfortunate events. I feel like climbing through your own window, or onto your own balcony is a rite of passage. Most people have done this before they are 30. Could always be worse, you could be 30, and locked out naked. A while back I found myself 40, locked out, wearing pajama pants and flip-flops in the rain. By the time I fell through the bathroom window onto my head with my pets laughing at me, I was half dead.